Oak Ridge Estates was the kind of neighborhood where every blade of grass knew its place. The houses stood in perfect cookie-cutter symmetry, their taupe facades unblemished by individuality. The streets were silent, save for the occasional hiss of sprinklers or the distant hum of a garage door closing. It was peaceful, oppressively so. Maggie Carter had moved here 6 months ago, lured by the promise of good schools and quiet streets. A former Army sergeant turned trauma nurse. She wasn't easily intimidated, but the Oak Ridge Homeowners Association had a way of making even the strongest residents feel like trespassers in their own homes. She first noticed the absurdity of the HOA's rules when she received a warning letter about her daughter's pink bicycle being left on the front porch overnight. Visible clutter, the notice read. Then came the citation for her grass being *2 centimeters too long. And now, as she pedaled home from her late shift at Mercy General, she was about to learn just how far the HOA's reach extended. Police cruisers' lights flashed behind her, slicing through the twilight. Maggie slowed to a stop, one foot planted on the pavement. The officer who stepped out was familiar Officer Danvers, a middle-aged cop with a perpetual smirk who seemed to relish enforcing Oak Ridge's petty ordinances. Evening. Ma'am, he said, tipping his hat with exaggerated politeness. You, no bicycles aren't permitted on sidewalks after 6, right? Maggie blinked. Since when? Since always. He pulled a laminated sheet from his clipboard, a list of HOA by Section 14D. No wheeled conveyances on sidewalks after sunset or before sunrise. Safety hazard. She stared at him. The sidewalk was empty. The street was empty. The only hazard here was the HOA's obsession with control. I'm a nurse. She said, keeping her voice level. I work late. This is how I get home. Danvers shrugged. Rules are rules. He scribbled out a ticket and handed it to her. $200. Pay it within 10 days or it doubles. Maggie took the slip of paper, her fingers tightening around the edges. You've got to be kidding me. Nope. He grinned. Welcome to Oak Ridge. As he drove off, Maggie remained frozen on the sidewalk, the weight of the ticket in her hand feeling heavier than it should. This wasn't about safety. This was about power, and she had just decided she wasn't going to take it anymore. The HOA meeting was already in full swing by the time Maggie pushed through the double doors of the Oak Ridge Community Center. The air smelled of stale coffee and lemon-scented disinfectant. Rows of folding chairs faced a raised platform where 5 board members sat behind a long table, their expressions carefully neutral. At the center sat Richard Langley, the HOA president, a silver-haired man with the polished smile of a man who had never been told no in his life. Maggie took a seat near the front, her ticket crumpled in her fist. Around her, residents murmured, some annoyed, others resigned. A woman in a floral blouse leaned over. Bike ticket, she whispered. Maggie nodded. The woman sighed. They got my son last week, $50 for leaving his skateboard on the driveway. Langley tapped his gavel lightly. Next order of business community compliance. His gaze flicked to Maggie, as if he'd been expecting her. We've had some pushback on our sidewalk safety ordinances. Officer Danvers, standing near the back in full uniform, cleared his throat. Just doing my job, folks. Rules keep our property values high. Maggie's patience snapped. She stood. Your rules are nonsense. The room went silent. Langley's smile didn't waver. Miss Carter, if you'd like to file a grievance, I'd like you to explain how ticketing a nurse for biking home at night makes anyone safer. Her voice carried, sharp as a blade. A few residents shifted in their seats. Langley adjusted his tie. Precedent matters. If we allow exceptions, the entire system collapses. What system? Maggie shot back. The one where you fine a widow for her roses being too red. Or where the Garcias had to repaint their door because it wasn't taupe enough. Murmurs of agreement rippled through the crowd. Langley's smile tightened. This isn't a debate, Miss Carter. Then change them. A beat of silence. Then Langley chuckled, as if she'd told a joke. That's not how this works. Motion to table this discussion. The board members raised their hands in unison. Maggie didn't sit down. You don't own this neighborhood. Langley's gaze turned icy. Sit down or I'll have you removed for disruption. For a long moment, they stared each other down. Then Maggie turned on her heel and walked out, the door swinging shut behind her outside. The night air was cool against her skin. She pulled out her phone and scrolled to a contact she hadn't used in years. SGT, Marcus Cole. Her thumb hovered over the call button. Then she pressed it. 3 rings. Then a familiar, gravelly voice. Carter. Hell, it's been I need a favor? She said. And it's gonna piss some people off. Cole laughed. Asterisk, now you're speaking my language. 2 days later, at precisely 6:07 p.m., Maggie Carter pedaled her daughter's sunflower yellow bicycle down the same Oak Ridge sidewalk where Officer Danvers had ticketed her. This time, she wore her old Army PT shirt, the one with the 101st Airborne insignia faded from years of washes. The evening air hummed with cicadas and the distant whir of lawnmowers. Everything looked peaceful. Everything was about to change. Danvers' cruiser appeared right on schedule, lights flashing. He stepped out with the same smug grin. Asterisk, back for round 2, Ms. Carter. Asterisk, Maggie braked smoothly, one foot planted on the pavement. Asterisk, just enjoying the neighborhood, officer. Asterisk, he pulled out his ticket book with theatrical slowness. Asterisk, you know how this goes. Let's see some ID. Asterisk, she reached into her pocket, but instead of her wallet, she pulled out a folded piece of paper and handed it to him. Danvers frowned. Asterisk, what's this? Asterisk, read it. Asterisk, the document bore the official seal of the U.S. Army Reserve. Danvers' eyes darted across the text, his smirk dissolving into confusion. This says, a deep, mechanical roar cut him off. At first it sounded like thunder. Then the ground began to vibrate. Windows rattled in their frames. Birds scattered from oak trees as the noise grew louder, a convoy of diesel engines and grinding treads. Danvers spun toward the street just as the first Humvee rounded the corner. Then another dot, 50 olive green vehicles rolled in. Perfect formation, flanking the neighborhood in an impenetrable blockade. Soldiers in full combat gear poured out, rifles slung across their chests, residents spilled onto their porches, phones raised to record the spectacle. A grizzled man with a sergeant major's insignia stalked toward Danvers. Marcus Cole's voice could have stripped paint off walls. Asterisk, problem here, officer. Asterisk, Danvers' mouth opened, then closed. His radio crackled with panicked dispatches. All units, we've got Christ. Is that a tank? Asterisk. Asterisk, Cole leaned in. Asterisk, Sergeant Major Carter called in a training exercise. Urban readiness drill. Totally legal. Asterisk, he grinned. Asterisk, unless you've got something to hide. Asterisk, Langley came sprinting down the sidewalk, his tailored suit jacket flapping. Asterisk, what is the meaning of this? Asterisk, Maggie folded her arms. Asterisk, you wanted rules, Richard. Let's talk about real authority. Asterisk, a news helicopter circled overhead. The news chopper's spotlight turned Oak Ridge Estates into a surreal stage. Neighbors gawked from porches as soldiers in full gear established a perimeter around Maggie and her unlikely allies. Officer Danvers' hand twitched near his service weapon, until Cole fixed him with a stare that could melt steel. Langley's polished facade cracked. This is ... This is an overreaction. Spittle flew from his lips. We have ordinances, procedures. Maggie stepped forward, the weight of months of frustration lending gravity to her words. Your procedures are bullying disguised as policy. She turned the gathering crowd, raising her voice. How many of you have paid fines for nonsense violations? Lived in fear of these people's whims? A murmur built into a rumble. Mrs. Garcia waved a paint sample card. They made us repaint our door 3 times. A teenager held up a skateboard, $50 just for leaving this outside. Cole's radio crackled. Sergeant Major, CNN's online too. He smirked. Shall we give Em a statement? The color drained from Langley's face as reality set in. The national spotlight now shone on his petty fiefdom. Cameras captured every twitch of his thinning lips, every nervous adjustment of his tie. Maggie, proceed her advantage. Motion to dissolve the current HOA board and hold emergency elections. The words carried the precision of a military operation. All in favor. The roar of approval shook the magnolia trees. Someone's grandmother pumped her fist in the air. A group of teenagers cheered like their team had won state. Danvers edged backward toward his cruiser, but found his path blocked by 2 broad-chested privates. Leaving so soon? One asked, cracking his knuckles. Cole handed Maggie a bullhorn. Her voice rang out clear and commanding. Effective immediately, all pending HOA fines are suspended. The bicycle ordinance is repealed. And Richard, she turned to the trembling former president, pack your desk. As the crowd erupted, Maggie caught her daughter's awestruck expression from their porch. The girl mouthed, Mom, you're a superhero. The soldiers began loading back into their Humvees. Mission accomplished. Cole clasped Maggie's shoulder. Same Carter from Kandahar, he chuckled. Still kicking over anthills, she grinned. Just protecting my AO Sergeant Major. That night, Oak Ridge Estates saw its first block party in years. Music played after curfew. Lawn chairs dotted previously pristine yards. And as Maggie pedaled home beneath the stars, no one dared stop her.